character. On June 30th, 1980, Betty Gore was going about her day when she had an unexpected visitor. What we know for certain is that she was struck by an axe that day 41 times.
Holy.
An axe that belonged in the family home. It didn't seem like this was premeditated. So who would do such a thing? This is the case of Betty Gore.
This is ringing some bells.
Well, ring, ring, and buckle in. That's my new catchphrase. You like it or not really? The Shining was released on May 23rd, 1980. It's a psychological horror film produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick.
Am I on the right podcast?
I'm just giving you a film review. The film is set at the Overlook Hotel. Inside of the hotel, a man walks. His name is Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, it's great. We'll pause and we're back. Did you like it?
I liked it.
That's what a great review. He moves slow at first as though he fears to wake the walls. In his hand, he carries an axe, not yet a weapon, only a tool. Its blade dulled by years of wood. Its handle worn smooth where other hands, steadier, kinder, once gripped it. The metal catches a stripe of corridor light, a fleeting glint, a promise. Snow piles higher against the doors.
Well, I know all this because we just watched it.
The wind presses its mouth to the glass and howls to be let in. Somewhere the elevator cables groan like a distant, patient hunger. The hotel watches from every keyhole. The man pauses in that endless red and gold hallway, breathing the thin mountain air, and tightens his fingers around the axe. Far above the roof, the sky hardens to iron. Far below the floorboards, the pipes whisper and rattle like teeth. Between them, both he stands small but burning, a fragile matchstick of anger in a tinderbox of ghosts. The axe waits, balanced and bright at his side.
Did you write this?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
This is beautiful.
It's there for his protection. It's his friend in his madness. As it already knows the doors will open, here's Johnny, he cries out, striking his axe. He has gone mad. That's right, exactly how he says it. The film was released on May 23rd, 1980. An axe would be the murder weapon in a murder that would take place not long after, on June 30th of the same year.
Ooh.
Could madness have played a part?
That maybe Jack Nicholson was the original influencer.
Absolutely. Could isolation be the motive? Could the film have served as inspiration?
Uh-huh.
Betty Gore was struck 41 times by the axe. But to understand who and why, we are going to need to start at the beginning.
What a very good place to start.
Thank you so much, G-Love. Betty Eileen Pomeroy was born on January 9th, 1950.
It's a cool name.
Isn't it? Pomeroy.
Betty Pomeroy.
There's some really great names that come up in this. You will lose your mind with one of them. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Yes. Why do I always comment on people's names?
I think some of the names are like very old-timey. I kind of like some of them in there.
I like names.
She was born in Kansas to Bob and Bertha Pomeroy.
Oh, my God.
She was an active and well-liked student involved in school plays and the student council, and she dreamed of becoming a school teacher. Betty later attended Southwestern University in Winfield, Kansas, where she was studying for a teaching degree. It was there that she met Alan Gore, a graduate teaching assistant.
That's such a famous name.
It is, isn't it, Alan Gore?
Alan Gore. Sounds like he should be a president or something.
That's right, yeah, and maybe he was, because Al Gore is the name of a president.
Oh, my God.
Well, not a president,
what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me?
You know what, G-Love? It is very relevant. The two grew close quickly, and once Betty was no longer in his class, their relationship turned romantic.
Oh, hang on. He was a
teaching assistant, so he was quite young as well, but still.
And it was university, I suppose.
That's right.
It's not so bad.
The pairing surprised many. People openly said they could understand why Alan was drawn to Betty, but struggled to see why Betty would choose Alan.
Oh my
That's
God,
not very nice,
so
is it?
mean.
Yeah. Betty was a conventionally pretty and innocent girl from Kansas. He was a small, plain, shy man with a receding hairline. He is played in the show Murder and Death that I watched. He is played very well by Jesse Plemons, who I always describe as like a Temu Matt Damon. You would know Jesse Plemons if you saw him. Yeah. And he's very good at playing this part. And I think the great thing about Jesse Plemons is he often plays these people. And I quite liked him in this. I highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah. I know him. I think he looks a little bit like who's the one that played Truman Capote?
Oh, yes, Tim Hoffman. Yes,
he looks a bit like him.
He does. He's very good. Despite the doubts of others, these two were in love. Betty and Alan married on January 25th, 1970, and soon relocated 251 kilometres or 156 miles north to Manhattan, Kansas.
Oh, there's a Manhattan in
Kansas.
Huh.
Where Alan completed his master's degree in education at Kansas State University. 3 months later, the couple moved again, this time to New Mexico.
3 months later.
3 months, following a familiar pattern.
You move.
That's right. Alan had a secure job with an electronics company. So he moved completely from teaching to working in an electronics company. Oh. Not long after, he left on a 6-week business trip, a separation that deeply unsettled Betty. She struggled with being alone, an issue that would become a recurring strain in their marriage.
How long was he away for?
He was away for 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So every time he went away, this would actually become a big thing in their relationship, point of tension. During one of Alan's absences, Betty had a one-night affair with a fellow college classmate. Oh. Feeling lonely and emotionally rejected, she sought the romance she was missing from her marriage. 2 days after, Alan returned and Betty confessed. Despite the betrayal, the couple chose to remain together.
I don't know for confessing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 2 days after as well, like just going, this guilt's too much. Yeah. In the spring of 1973, Betty graduated from New Mexico State University. Shortly afterward, they moved to Richardson, Texas, so another move, where Alan took a position at Collins Radio, a company that later merged with Rockwell International. So he stayed in the electronic industry. Betty worked as a substitute teacher and supplemented her income by selling Avon.
Oh my God, that's so 70s. I love that.
A little bit about Avon because I just find this world really interesting. Yeah. In the 1980s, women selling Avon were known as the Avon Ladies, utilising a door-to-door sales model that had been successful for decades. Kind of like selling Tupperware, but Avon...
Yeah, but Tupperware was at parties.
Yeah, door-to-door is odd.
Avon lady would literally come to the door and knock on the door and kind of say, can I come inside? And sell some things that have like a catalogue.
Yeah.
Like Tupperware parties, but it would just be that someone would like a salesperson come to your
door knocking. Yeah.
But I think they used to do that with a lot of things because isn't that how McDonald's started? The guy was like a door-to-door, like smoothie.
Oh, really?
Maker.
Oh.
I think that's what it is.
That's a fact.
Why you
haven't looked any of this up. It's a fact.
No, you know the movie, The Founder.
Yeah.
That's what he does. And he's like going door to door, like selling like smoothie makers, like milkshake machines, and then ends up selling it and like goes into restaurants and milkshakes and burgers and.
It was a big thing back then. Representatives were self-employed and sold products directly to customers, often neighbours and friends.
Oh my God, Diggs just ate a fly.
It was pretty cool. Using a physical catalogue, the iconic slogan Avon Calling was a familiar sound. They earned a commission of 20 to 25% on sales, which doesn't feel like it's much, and could increase earnings by recruiting other representatives.
Yeah, the first MLM.
That's right. It was a fairly empowering thing in the 1980s for a lot of housewives to have a business of their own. It provided a form of financial independence that could be balanced with family life. However, it was all part of a multi-level marketing campaign that was dominated by the men above.
Of course it was. Yeah. Everything bloody is in this world. But that's the thing with MLMs is, like, yes, it does give financial security and independence. That's fantastic for the people that start. But then you make more money by signing on more people.
That's right.
Which means everyone then knows numerous Avon ladies and they've got all their products. So they're not buying from people anymore because they're like, oh, well, I've already bought it from my friend.
I know.
This Avon lady already came around last week and now there's 3 of them on the street. You know?
In a small town as well. Yeah. Like that is so hard. I wish we had a Diggs cam now for that fly moment.
It's lying there still and he just like jumped up and ate a fly in one go and then just...
Incredible. I don't feed the boy. The Gore family,
Protein.
the Gore family welcomed their first daughter, Alicia, in 1974. In 1976, Betty began teaching at a secondary school, but the job quickly became overwhelming. Unruly students combined with Alan's frequent work travel left her feeling increasingly isolated. By this time, Betty had been diagnosed with postpartum depression, along with several other health issues that were ongoing. In February 1977, Alan made a career change in the hopes of stabilising family life, accepting a position that would require far less travel. The family relocated again to Wylie, Texas, where they purchased their first home.
Is that where the Wylie Coyote is from?
Exactly, and we'll meet him very soon. Betty took a job teaching 5th grade, and together they began attending the First United Methodist Church as a family. Methodists believe in God's universal love and grace, differing from some Protestants by baptising infants and allowing women pastors, while stressing practical faith through doing good and serving others. Always forgiveness with the Methodists. One of the first searches that came up when Googling the Methodist Church was, can you wear jeans to a Methodist church?
What?
To which you'll be happy to know it's a big yes from the GOD.
Why is everyone Googling that?
I don't know if it's, look, I think a lot of churches are quite formal. I think back in the day when I used to go with my nan to a Catholic church.
Did you?
Yeah, I loved it.
What?
Yeah, I got like,
that.
I got a bead, like it was kind of a necklace, kind of a cross necklace from the tree of Bethlehem, and I loved it, and I wore it all the time. Yeah,
Never
didn't wear
known
it for very
that.
long. I did, to piss off my mum. A few years ago, I bought one just to kind of wear it and just show her all the time, just like I was suddenly religious
Like
again.
you were born again.
Yeah.
Why would that piss off your mum?
Because my mum is not religious at all and doesn't like the Catholic Church. Hey, and if the Catholic Church want to sponsor us, we will not take your money. It was at this church that Betty and Alan began making a new circle of friends, including Pat and Candy Montgomery.
Candy Montgomery.
Isn't that a great name?
Wow, that's so American.
Not even the name that you're going to love, but still another great name. In the autumn of 1978, Betty suggested to Alan that it was time for them to have a second child. This time, however, she wanted to plan the pregnancy perfectly, to the exact week, awaiting for a summer birth so she wouldn't need to take time off work.
Oh, wow.
She carefully tracked her ovulations to ensure the timing was just right. It's in the show Love and Death. This is done in a very funny way. It's very, and I think it is kind of an overdone thing. Sometimes a woman is ovulating and the man has to hurry up.
Rush home.
It's kind of done in that
hour.
way. Yeah, and it kind of shows their relationship at that time.
Right, okay.
In July 1979, Betty gave birth to the couple's second daughter, Bethany. Once again, Betty suffered from postpartum depression, but through counselling workshops offered by the church, the couple worked through the strain. By 1980, they felt closer than ever and began planning a second honeymoon, a long-anticipated trip to Europe.
What's that? Why not just call it a holiday? Why is it called a second honeymoon?
Well, I think, and we'll go into another couple that do this as well. It's really interesting because I think they had kids and they needed to kind of rekindle the romance in the relationship.
Calling it that to be like, it's romantic.
Absolutely.
It's not just a holiday.
Yeah.
Let's re-find out. Yeah. It's like when
And I think when you've got
their
kids,
vows and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when you've got kids as well, like I think that was probably Betty was feeling more and more isolated with Alan going away. I feel like she wanted time with him.
I wanted to call it
and they
that.
couldn't just leave the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
On July 19, just 1 week before their departure, Alan was unexpectedly required to travel to Minnesota on business.
Minnesota.
Betty was deeply saddened by his sudden absence, yet still very excited about the upcoming trip. It was meant to be their first child-free vacation in 4 years. Tragically, Betty would never get the chance to go.
Oh, she died before.
Yeah.
Oh.
The couple had an agreement. Whenever Alan travelled, he would call Betty several times throughout the day to check in. He left directly from work for the airport and attempted to call her, but there was no answer. After landing in Minnesota, he tried again. Still nothing. Before heading out to dinner, Alan contacted information to obtain the phone number of their neighbour. Information is obviously something that we don't have at all anymore. But it was really, I remember, calling Once I think I
1, 2,
called
4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
I remember one. I think that was like the Telstra number 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
It's like a white pages
for them to put you through to.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
There's, I think one of the funniest songs of all time is Jim Croce Operator. Have you ever heard that?
Is that Jim Croce?
Oh, is it? Oh, maybe it is Croce.
Anyway, that's not the point.
But yeah, there's a song and he calls the operator to get his ex-lover's number, but the operator talks him around.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It's in the song. It's great.
Song. I know Time in a Bottle.
Operator, will you help me place this call? Seems you know that. Oh yeah, seems like the matchbook is old and faded. He used to have the number, and then as the song goes on, he realizes that he doesn't need to talk to them anymore. He goes, "You can keep the dime."
Oh my God, I'm listening to that song.
Yeah, we'll listen to it after. Before heading out to dinner, Alan contacted information, like I just said, to get the number of their neighbour, Richard Parker, who had actually sold the house to Alan and Betty 3 years earlier.
Oh my God, such a small town.
Parker would later describe Alan as quiet and unsociable. Alan told Richard that he was really worried about Betty and asked if he could knock on the door and see if she was there. Richard did as instructed, but there was no answer. Richard then decided to call Betty's friend, Candy Montgomery, who said that she had stopped by the house earlier that day. She had dropped by earlier that day because Betty and Alan's daughter were spending the night with them. Candy had gone to the house to pick up Alicia's swimmers and said that when she was there, Betty was absolutely fine and suggested that perhaps she had gone to a friend's house and said that she did act in a way that was like kind of in a hurry for her to leave. So she was kind of like out. She wanted Candy to get out quickly. Alan called Richard again to see if the car was in the driveway. Richard said her car was in the driveway and there were still lights on in the house. At 11 p.m, Alan called again to ask Richard if he would check on her again and get into the house by whatever means necessary. So he's really worried at this point. This is the name that I love. Richard left to go and get Lester Gaylor.
Stop
another neighbour.
Stop it. Lester Gaylor.
Lester Gaylor.
Oh,
isn't that a great name?
I love it.
And they went to the house together. Richard and Lester entered the home, finding that the front door was actually unlocked. So something I couldn't find, Richard sold them the home. He, in the televised version, one of the televised versions that I watched, which is a dramatised version, right. He had the keys to the house because he was the old realtor. I could not find anywhere if that was actually true.
Okay, right.
I find it interesting sometimes to look at a dramatised version and go, what is actually
real,
true?
Yeah. It also just might be like, as the neighbours, that he had a spare key.
Exactly, yeah. They immediately heard 11-month-old Bethany Gore crying.
Oh, no.
They ran towards the sound and found Bethany crying in her crib, unharmed. God. Richard took Bethany over to his house and left her with his wife, asking her to call the police immediately. When Richard returned to the house, he and Lester walked through the home, noting blood smears on the doorknobs and the walls.
Oh, no.
Then they saw a light coming from underneath the door of the utility room, which was between the living room and the garage. When they opened it, they discovered an absolutely gruesome scene.
Oh, no.
Betty Gore lying on the ground, covered in a pool of blood. Oh. Betty was just 30 years old at the time of her death. There was a pool of blood an inch thick around Betty and blood on the walls. There were blood smears on the freezer, up the walls, and absolutely everywhere. Oh. There was so much blood in the room that at first glance the men assumed that Betty had actually shot herself.
Oh, yuck. Oh, no.
The first officer on the scene was Johnny Lee, bridge farmer.
Stop it. You're making up all of these names.
A rookie who had been on the force less than a year. He arrived at 11:18 p.m. and was confronted with a scene so brutal it seemed ripped from a horror film. Oh. Additional officers arrived shortly thereafter. Alan Gore called the house during the chaos and one of the officers answered, informing him that Betty appeared to have been shot. Police later remarked on Alan's eerie calm upon receiving the news, an unsettling composure that immediately raised suspicions. After hanging up, Alan contacted family members and also Candy Montgomery, asking if she and her husband Pat could look after Alicia for a little longer.
What about Bethany?
So she was taken to the neighbour's house, Richard's house. Yeah.
Okay, and Alicia was with friends.
Well, yeah, with Candy and Pat.
Of course, she'd gone to pick her up. Yep.
That's right, yeah. Candy, known locally for her penchant for gossip, soon began informing others in the church that Betty had been shot.
Oh.
So that was basically spread around very quickly from those goddamn Methodist gossips at the time.
I mean, I suppose if you knew your friend had died, you would tell people.
Absolutely, yeah. I think she called a lot of people at the time. However, a closer examination revealed the true horror of the scene. Betty's body bore deep lacerations across her torso, extremities, and the face.
Oh, God.
The injuries were so severe that her right eye was missing. Nearby, an axe was discovered and quickly identified as the murder weapon, with marks on the floor and walls confirming its use and a struggle.
On a struggle. Oh, no. Oh, God.
Investigators also noted a pair of broken sunglasses kicked under an appliance and a full bloody footprint at the scene. While the wooden axe handle yielded no fingerprints, a thumbprint was found on the freezer.
Must have been wearing gloves.
Yeah, but too faint to lift, but captured in a detailed photograph.
Oh.
Blood and hair in the shower suggested the killer had attempted to clean themselves after the attack.
Whoa.
Smears throughout the home indicated a half-hearted attempt to actually clean the crime scene.
And then probably realised there's way too much blood.
Absolutely. Ultimately abandoned in haste. Police collected extensive evidence from the scene. Strands of hair clutched in the victim's hand, so that the struggle. Blood samples, the thumbprint on the freezer, and over 127 hairs from the bathtub.
Whoa.
That's likely it's from the house.
Families, yeah.
Of these, all but four match Betty.
Okay.
2 were identified as animal hairs, likely from the family dogs, and the 2 remaining were of unknown origin. A single fingernail was also recovered from the living room floor.
A fingernail?
Yeah. The medical examiner determined that Betty had been struck 41 times with the axe, including 28 blows to the head alone. The volume of blood indicated that she was still alive for at least 40 of the strikes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
She may not have been conscious, but she was definitely alive during the attacks.
Oh, my God.
There was no sexual assault, and the official cause of death was massive head trauma.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah. It was the first murder in living memory in Wylie.
Wow.
And the apparent rage displayed in the attack shocked the community.
Yeah.
Police quickly ruled out robbery. A $20 bill remained on Betty's dresser. So just in sight, and there was other money in the house. They also believed the attack was not premeditated, noting the signs of struggle and the use of a weapon belonging to the home.
I mean, the signs of a struggle, I don't think that shows that it wasn't premeditated. I mean, you'd still fight for your life if someone came in planning to kill you.
That's true. I mean, I think it was more that the weapon belonged to the house and was from the garage.
Yeah. And maybe the signs of the struggle was more like if someone had planned it, they would have got her from behind or something.
Sure,
maybe, I don't know.
Absolutely. And maybe gone in at night or something, I don't know. Yeah. However, investigators considered whether the choice of an axe had been influenced by recent films.
Ooh.
A newspaper found in the room lay open to the movie section, featuring an article on The Shining, with drops of blood on that very page.
Oh, that's so creepy.
So creepy. Officers also questioned whether the murder might have been inspired by Friday the 13th, noting the chilling coincidence that the crime actually occurred on Friday, June 13.
Oh, my God.
However, police believed the violence was personal.
Well, yeah, that level of
violence, which quickly ruled out robbery as a motive. And when a murder appears personal, the first person investigators look at is often the spouse. But Alan was out of town at the time of the attack. This led to a chilling question. Could he have killed Betty earlier that morning, then gone about his day, going to work, catching his flight, calling repeatedly to maintain the appearance of normalcy before leaving town? Alan stated that he arrived at work around 8:30 a.m. that day, and remained there until leaving for the airport in the afternoon. Police were able to verify this timeline, But the sight of burnt coffee left in the kitchen raised questions. Could Betty have been killed before Alan left for work? They were still wondering about this. A 5-year-old girl from the neighbourhood told police she had been playing outside around 11 a.m. on June 13th when she saw Candy Montgomery arrive at the Gore home. Later, when the girl knocked to see if Alicia could come out and play, no one answered the door. Could Candy have been the last person to see Betty alive? Candy was brought in for questioning on Sunday, June 15th.
Oh, yeah, hang on, because it can't have been Alan then.
No, if it was the morning, Candy was there later. Yeah. Father's Day. She claimed that she had been at Vacation Bible School that morning.
What's that?
Oh, it's just a Bible school, just the Bible school of the Methodist Church. Okay, yeah,
Alicia, not the important part of the story.
Not important. Alicia had spent the night at the Montgomerys the night before, and the girls had asked if she could stay another night, with Candy planning to take her along to a movie later that day. Candy said she left Bible school around 9:45 a.m. to check on the sleepover request. According to Candy, Betty was drinking coffee and sewing when she arrived. They talked about the Gore family's new puppy before going inside, where Betty agreed to let Alicia stay another night. Candy also offered to take Alicia to a swimming lesson that afternoon, and Betty gave her some peppermint candies as a reward for putting her face in the water. So whenever she put her face in the water, they give her some peppermint candies as a reward. Candy then told Alicia about a new venture she and her friend Sherry were starting, a small interior design service for wallpaper and paint called The Cover Girl.
Oh, my God.
Candy left one of her new business cards on the coffee table and went to the utility room to fetch Alicia's bathing suit. Betty went to the bathroom to collect a towel. Candy said she stayed in the bathroom for about 15 minutes washing her hands and combing her hair, worried that her new perm wasn't holding up in the Texas heat.
Then someone at her house and went and brushed her hair for 15 minutes.
Yeah. She then left the house and drove to Target to pick up a Father's Day card. At first glance, her watch read 10:15 a.m. But when she later realised it had stopped, she discovered that it was actually after 11 a.m., nearly an hour unaccounted for. She rushed back to the Vacation Bible School, picked up the children, and took them to Walmart to buy a Father's Day card. By 2 p.m, Candy had driven Alicia to a swimming lesson. Later that afternoon at 4:30 p.m, Candy, her two children, Alicia Gore, and her husband Pat, waited in a parking lot. They waited for Pat to finish work. And then from there, they drove to Dallas and were planning to catch the 7:30 p.m. showing of The Empire Strikes Back, a Star Wars.
One of the Star Wars.
But then they discovered tickets were still available for the 5:15 p.m. showing. They switched plans, seeing the earlier movie, and would have dinner afterwards. The timeline is very detailed, but the precision of her story, the gaps in time, and the quick shifts between locations would later become critical for investigators trying to piece together who could have been at the Gore home during the morning hours. Every minute, every stop mattered. Candy said she didn't suspect anything was wrong with Betty until Alan called at 8:30 p.m. asking if she knew where Betty was. Alan later called at 11:30 p.m. and told her about Betty's death and to keep Alicia for another night. Candy was extremely cooperative in the interview and agreed to give her fingerprints. She said that day she wore blue tennis shoes and even offered to bring them to the station, offering anything she could do to help.
Oh, because there was a footprint in the blood.
Yeah, exactly. Alan came in for an interview on June 16. Alan told police that before he left for work, he and Betty had got into an argument. Betty's period was 2 weeks late and she was concerned she was once again pregnant. Due to the struggle she had with postpartum depression, she was terrified of being pregnant again so soon. Alan said he tried calling her off and on all day but never got a response. The interview lasted a few hours. Police asked about problems in their marriage and if Betty had ever had an affair. He said yes, once in 1971. As far as he knew, there was nothing since. Police then asked if Alan had had an affair, and he said no. Police were quick to note that he was extremely calm and non-emotional. It seemed strange that he was not reacting in any way, but his alibi actually checked out.
If you didn't do that, if your wife gets brutally murdered and it wasn't you, God, that would be nerve-wracking because, it's always the husband.
Always.
That's what they think. It's always the husband. And
Absolutely.
you go, far. And we had a fight that morning.
Yeah.
And, no one saw her again afterwards. Shit, this looks bad.
Oh, my God.
Imagine how terrifying that would be. How can he stay calm?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
obviously just the fact his wife has been brutally murdered at all, but the fact that it could so obviously look like him. It's weird that he's calm.
I know. Could the killer have been the person that Betty had once had an affair with?
Oh, maybe it was still going on.
Yeah. Police could have looked into this, but then they received some rather shocking news. One day, after Alan's interview, he made a call to the police chief at 6 a.m. the next day and told them that he was not entirely truthful in his interview. He did, in fact, have an affair. It had long since ended, but he did have an affair for nearly a year with a woman by the name of Candy Montgomery.
Oh, I do know this story. There were when the acts in the utility room, I was like, this is really familiar.
Yeah.
I've watched the dramatized show years ago.
There's one with Jessica Biel. And there's one with Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, yes, that one.
Yes.
That's one I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know this
my
story.
God.
Candace Lynn Wheeler was born in Georgia.
That's me.
It's you. On November 15, 1949.
Oh, this is so good.
Her father was in the army, so the family moved frequently, living in Washington, D.C., Virginia, France, and Germany.
Stop moving, everyone.
Candy was easily bored and constantly seeking excitement. At 14, she ran away from home simply because she was bored, though she was found the next day. At 16, she fell in love.
And was
straight away, found.
So not ran away and then came back.
No, they went searching for her and they found her.
Oh, my God, her poor parents.
I know. At 16, she fell in love with a high school senior named Chris.
Didn't we all?
Who claimed...
At 16, I was in love with a high school senior called Chris as well.
Who claimed he planned to propose. Candy's mother forbade the engagement, though Candy later admitted she wasn't particularly upset about it.
She was just exciting that day.
Yeah, just exciting that day. I was bored one day.
That's very me too, actually.
In January 1970, at the age of 21, Candy moved out on her own for the first time. She worked as a secretary for a newspaper and knew exactly what she wanted, a family. She dated several men, but nothing seemed right. One lacked education, another didn't earn enough money. When rent increased, she took a new secretary position at a furniture manufacturing company.
You say secretary so funny.
You always say that. Where she met Marie Montgomery. Marie introduced Candy to her single son, James, known as Pat.
Oh,
so his first name was actually James, but for some reason he went by his second name, Pat. So weird.
I feel like so many people gave their children family names, but then
first
everyone's called John and... Oh, my fucking God, that scared the shit out of me.
Pig.
That was Dig's toy. Oh, my God, that scared the shit out of me.
That's so scary. That's why we need this Dig's camp, for God's sake.
Oh, my God. I love that she worked with someone who was like, you should date my son.
You're single,
My son's lovely. That's such a trope.
It is.
Happened.
He was 5 or 6 years older than Candy, and by her own description, he was a little bit dull.
Oh.
So the mum
Candy
said that.
Oh, Mum. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Candy later called their first date excruciating and the most boring date of her life.
What?
Yet despite the lackluster start, the two eventually became a couple.
Why?
Don't know. 2 months later, Pat proposed and Candy accepted.
2 months?
Mm-hmm. They married on October 6, 1970, and soon after moved to Boulder, Colorado, so Pat could complete his dissertation at the University of Colorado. Diggs, please. Diggs. Not now. You've had all day to play with that. His research focused on electromagnetic boundary value problems based upon a modification of residue calculus and function theoretic techniques, suggesting he was quite the academic. Also, he was pretty boring.
Yeah, that sounds so boring. Even that you saying that was boring.
I couldn't even get through it. Candy, however, was unhappy in Colorado. She disliked the weather and took a part-time job at an insurance company. By 1973, the couple relocated to Richardson, Texas, where Pat worked at military instruments on top secret military radar projects.
So that should sound interesting.
It's not, isn't it? It's not at all, because it's Pat. Although Candy had initially wanted 8 children, she ultimately had her tubes tied after 2. Jenny, born in 1972, and Ian in 1974.
Jeez, poor Ian. What have you done so wrong to make a change of dream from 8 to be like, my God, I'm never having one after you.
While Candy and Pat were not particularly religious, they began attending the Methodist church for the sake of their children.
To piss off their mum.
Yeah, that's right. The only reason. In 1977, they moved to Wylie, Texas, where they joined the First United Methodist Church and met the Gore family. Candy and Betty sang in the choir together, and when their daughters, Jenny Montgomery and Alicia Gore, became best friends, the families were drawn together. In many ways, it seemed like their friendship existed largely because of their children. So let's get back to Alan confessing to his affair. So Alan called...
Imagine that panic after knowing you'd lied to police.
Oh my God, I'm being so guilty.
Oh my God.
So Alan called at 6 a.m.
He's been up all night. Yeah.
Did this affair have anything to do with the brutal murder of Betty Gore? The police chief said, "You know what? We knew about the affair. Candy told us already."
Oh.
Now, Candy had not, in fact, told police.
Oh, they're sneaky bastards.
Sneaky, but instead wanted to make sure that Alan wouldn't tell Candy what he knew before the police could get the opportunity to speak to her.
So it's like, we'll make sure you're pissed off at her.
Yeah. So let's talk about the affair.
Oh, yeah, let's.
The Montgomerys and the Gores met around 1977 when they both moved to Wylie, Texas. In 1978, during a church volleyball game, Candy and Alan collided. Candy later told her friend Sherry that she hadn't been attracted to Alan before this, but was extremely attracted by Alan's masculine smell.
Ew.
Isn't that gross?
That is the grossest thing I've ever heard.
Candy had been depressed.
The only time a man has ever smelled nice is if he's wearing cologne.
That's right. You're not his sexual masculine energy. Candy had been depressed and told Sherry that she hoped for some kind of intense sexual encounter that she could only describe as fireworks.
She'd been watching Heated Rivalry.
That's right. Or she just listened to, what's his name, John Mayer, and thought, I want some sexual napalm in my life.
Oh.
Yep. Candy thought that Alan would be the one to make that happen. Candy later approached Alan.
She was like, right, you're my type. I want some kinky sex.
It's sexy. Yeah, I thought that is.
You smell like a man.
Yeah.
I hated saying that.
Candy later approached Alan and asked if he wanted to have an affair.
Oh, just
out like that.
Actually, I do remember that scene
it's very
in the
funny.
show. It's very transactional.
Very transactional.
I've come up with this idea. Here is my pitch to you.
That's right. So in the series that I watched based on this case, of course, written by David E. Kelley, who somehow never sleeps. If you don't know who David E. Kelley is, you would have seen his name on nearly every show in America. He creates and writes most television in America. Here are a few of his credits: Boston Legal, Ally McBeal, Big Little Lies, The Lincoln Lawyer, The Undoing, Presumed Innocent, Man in Full, Mr. Mercedes, Anatomy of a Scandal, Big Sky, Nine Perfect Strangers, Goliath, Big Shot, Harry's Law, Crazy Ones, and that's only a few.
Oh my God.
So he has created most, like he's any legal kind of procedural thing, true crime,
and
he's
those
involved in it.
kind of one-off series.
That's right.
Things, yeah.
Heaps of stuff.
Wow.
The series is called Love and Death, and I quite like the series.
Is that the Elizabeth Olsen one?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Candy approaching Alan is done in quite a funny way.
Yeah.
With her sitting in his car and asking if he'd like to engage in an affair.
Mm-hmm.
Alan is played by Jesse Plemons and Candy is played by Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
It's quite a good series and I recommend it watching it, but only after listening to this.
Of course.
Alan was surprised by the offer.
We were allowed to stop to watch The Shining, but you're not allowed to stop to watch
We've watched The Shining twice. You just don't know the second time that we started watching it.
We were really subtle about it.
Alan was surprised by the offer of an affair, but told Candy they need some time to think about it.
Oh my God, that is wild.
Alan and Betty.
Say no, Alan.
Alan and Betty seemed to have the picture-perfect marriage on the outside, but they were struggling. They weren't intimate anymore, and Betty constantly had mental health problems. Alan was starting to resent Betty. Then in 1978, they fostered an 8-year-old boy by the name of Danny who had been badly abused.
Oh, wow.
Danny picked on their daughter and did not listen to them, so they had to give Danny back to the state.
Oh, that's so sad.
Around this time, they decided to start trying for a second child. Betty wanted to time it perfectly, so she would give birth in the summer so she wouldn't have to take time off work. Now, because this was all about timing, the sex was now quite clinical and there was no passion left in making love, or as G Love calls it, making whoopee.
I've never called it that and I never would.
Okay.
I find it really funny when people talk about, like, when they're trying and they're talking about ovulating and stuff. A friend of mine, and I won't say who it is, but her family lives in Queensland and she lives in Melbourne, and her grandma passed away. So she went up to Queensland for the funeral.
Yeah.
And her husband didn't go because couldn't take time off work. And she was ovulating for the day that she left, and then the couple of days she was there. So she was like, oh, well, we're going to have to quickly have sex in the morning. The day I leave, my grandma's funeral, had like a really unpassionate quickie in the morning before she got on her flight. And then that's how they conceived
Oh my
their
God,
child.
how lovely.
So she's like, it's kind of nice and it's like maybe my grandma reincarnate, but it's also very weird that's I know that it was dead grandma.
The romance is still alive. Beautiful. When Betty became pregnant in 1978, you'd think that Alan would know that an affair was a bad idea, but he didn't.
Oh.
He called Candy on November 15th, Candy's 29th birthday, and told her that he was interested in having an affair after all.
This is so funny.
It's very funny in the series.
But it is. It's so weird. It's so transactional.
They met in a car park in an auto repair shop the next day, and Alan gave her a birthday card that read, "For the last of the red hot lovers."
Oh, yuck!
Inside the card was a bag of red hot candy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because she was red hot
Yeah.
candy. Ew,
Red Hots are made by an American company called Ferrera. They are a fiery, hot cinnamon flavour hard candy ball in a box.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Like Big Red? Is that the
think
chewing
so.
gum, the cinnamon, like hot cinnamon chewing gum
Yeah,
they've got in
yeah,
America?
I think so.
Yuck.
During the meeting, they drove to a nearby tea house where they discussed their respective partners and all kinds of things, and then they planned their affair.
This is so weird.
That emotions could not be involved and decided they would begin the affair on December 12th.
It's so weird.
On December 12th.
What if you weren't horny that day?
I know.
Like there's nothing sexy about this at all.
On December, especially when he was like, "Oh, I've got no passion in my relationship anymore," and then he's going
Yes,
to the
and
second.
this is so transactional.
So
like
transactional.
Planning it for a date like that, I don't know, maybe that makes it more exciting. But I
Yeah.
feel like I'd wake up that morning and be like, I can't be bothered
feel
today.
like it
My
today.
luteal phase. Bored.
On December 12th, Candy dropped her kids off at school and packed a picnic lunch, which included white wine, marinated chicken, cheesecake, and salad.
Oh, that's the most 70s
So sexy.
picnic
So
I've
sexy. They had lunch together in a motel, had sex or make whoopee, as she would say, and showered. While it wasn't the
They had
fireworks.
lunch and then they had sex?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't
That's
it?
so weird.
While it wasn't the fireworks Candy was hoping for, they met every 2 weeks at the Como Hotel.
Oh my God.
They would sometimes just meet and talk, laugh together, and at some point in all of this, they fell in love.
Oh.
2 months in, Candy said her feelings were getting too deep.
Yeah, well, why are you meeting up and like chatting and laughing if you're trying to have just a sexual affair,
Yeah,
not an emotional
just
one?
make whoopee and go.
As I always
As you
say,
always
just
say.
make whoopee and leave.
Alan started writing Candy love letters. One of these letters would soon be found.
Bum, bum, bum.
In June, however, Alan thought that they should take a break
Take a break.
as Betty was getting close to giving birth.
Oh, what a dog.
Yeah. He decided... Oh, he didn't suggest they end things, just put a pin in it.
Oh, just while my wife goes and gives birth.
Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
Alan told Candy that he really wanted to work on his and Betty's relationship, and Candy was, of course, devastated.
No.
Betty gave birth to Bethany on July 2nd, and sadly, Betty suffered postpartum depression again, and things didn't get better between her and Alan. By late July, Alan and Candy began the affair again, but this time it just wasn't as fun. Candy was now fairly emotionally detached after the break and felt some pretty intense guilt. One night, Betty tried to instigate sex, but Alan turned her down.
Was it because he was
As
guilty?
he had been with Candy that day. And it led...
I'm glad he turned her down I'm glad he didn't sleep with both of them on the same day, but gross reason to not have sex with your wife because you had sex with her friend earlier that day.
And it led Betty spiralling into a depressive episode.
Yeah, I get it, girl.
A couple of days later, Alan went and officially ended the affair with Candy and enrolled in marriage counselling at the church. It was called Marriage Encounter.
Marriage Encounter?
Yeah.
Also, sorry, but the church holding marriage counselling is just
so weird, isn't it?
The greatest oxymoron.
With groups of couples sharing and helping each other. It brought Alan and Betty closer together. Would you get off your phone? I'm trying to tell you a story.
Sorry.
Candy claimed that she wasn't upset about the affair ending as the sex wasn't as exciting anymore. The affair ended in October 1979, and by early November, Candy began another affair with a man by the name of Richard.
Oh, wow.
Candy then ended up calling Alan asking if she and Pat should try Marriage Encounter themselves. Candy also told Alan that she was not over him.
Oh, dear.
Pat, Candy's husband, found a love letter at their home from Alan to Candy. Oh. Pat went to Candy's friend Sherry instead of talking to her and asked her if it was true and, if it was now over. Oh, Sherry confirmed it had happened, but it was long over.
Oh, poor boring Pat.
Poor boring Pat. Candy and Pat spoke about it and then decided to work on their marriage and to go on a family holiday, which they treated as a second honeymoon. Alan was brought in for a second interview on June 17th. He was asked if Candy or Alan were planning on getting a divorce. So after their affair, were either of them planning on that? Alan told police that Candy wanted to divorce Pat, but she was going to wait until the kids were older. Isn't that horrible?
That's so depressing.
Alan was adamant that he did not want to get a divorce from Betty, so police asked if Betty knew about it. So about the affair. Yeah. He said that she did not indicate that she knew at all. He also said that if she did, she would likely not have said anything.
Oh, that's sad.
That's sad.
Especially when she had slept with someone else once. She told him straight away.
Exactly. You'd think
and he's going, well, I don't have to tell her, and if she knows, she's...
Exactly. She hasn't said anything. We'll just live this miserable life. Oh. Alan maintained that neither he nor Candy had any reason to harm Betty. He submitted, who was submitted to a polygraph test and passed.
That's so stupid. Yeah.
Candy was brought in again on June 17th as well, this time questioned about the affair. When asked if Pat would ever be unfaithful, she replied confidently, "Oh, Pat wouldn't do that." But when asked about her own actions, too boring for an affair.
With him, unfortunately.
She admitted she had become attracted to Alan during a church volleyball game, and she had eventually approached him. She confessed to the affair in full, including the love letter that Pat had discovered, and told police that she had no desire for it to end. Candy refused to take a polygraph test herself, so investigators turned to her alibi. One of the parents at the Vacation Bible School stated that Candy had left around 9:45 a.m. and returned after 11 a.m. She had been quieter than usual, though nothing overtly suspicious, except that she returned wearing different clothing, including a long-sleeve top, unusual given the Texas heat.
Oh.
Police examined the fingerprints on the freezer, and it was a match to Candy.
Oh, was she wearing long sleeves because she had like scratches on her or something?
Small footprints were discovered at the scene, which were consistent with a female or a child. So at some point they were like, did a child do this?
Oh, she had tiny feet.
Candy wore a size 5 shoe.
Whoa, that's small. I have really long feet.
You do, the longest feet I've ever seen.
If any of you listeners out there have a foot fetish, get
You're on
in
Wiki
touch.
Feet, aren't you?
Well, not by my choice. Someone has put me on Wiki Feet. But no, don't tell them that because...
Oh, no, you're not on Wiki Feet, are you?
No,
Edit it here.
No, I'm not.
Edit it here.
I would 100% sell my feet pics.
Yeah,
you
should.
just don't know who to sell them to. So if you guys know anyone...
Just post online about it. You're fine. Post on Instagram. Willing to sell. They would love that. Candy
they're
wore...
not big, they're just long. They're quite pretty.
They're long.
Long ass finger toes.
Candy wore a size 5 shoe. Alan noted that the axe could have been easily seen by anyone entering the garage, adding to the puzzle of how the crime unfolded. On June 27, Candy Montgomery was officially arrested. During the strip search, police noted bruising across her body and a cut on her toe. The arrest sent shockwaves through the community. Candy was known as a pillar of the church and a trusted friend. She hired
Candy for Christ's sake.
She hired defense attorney Don Crowder, another great name, who told her the police were simply trying to pin the murder on her. Candy's response was a chilling, direct, "But I did do it."
Oh my God.
Candy outright admitted to it. Shortly after the murder, Candy was one of the neighbours who brought food to the grieving Gore family.
And their daughter was at her house.
Yeah. Oh. The trial took place in Texas in October 1980. Don Crowder's opening argument admitted that Candy did murder Betty Gore, but that Candy acted in self-defense. Now,
41 axe wounds?
Well, the TV show is really interesting in this way because it is really, obviously this is what happened and you know, in the eyes of the law and everything. Yeah, right, so they really go with Candy's version of events rather than, yeah.
Okay.
On October 23rd, Candy took the stand.
Can you get off your phone, please?
It's a WhatsApp call from a random number.
Well, in Romania or something.
Yeah, it's
Should
lovely.
answer it. It might be a prince trying to give you money.
Oh, thank you, Prince. On October 23rd.
Prince, not Prince, a Prince.
Oh, sorry.
It's Prince.
He's passed away.
Prince is calling you from beyond the grave on WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp, it's nice. On October 23rd, Candy took the stand. Her hair had been highlighted and straightened, which gave her a much softer look. She also had glasses in this as well. Oh. She gave her account of what had happened, saying that Betty wasn't expecting her. Betty had just put the baby down for a nap. Candy said that she was disappointed because she wanted to play with the baby during her visit. Candy played with a new puppy and then went into the kitchen with Betty. They spoke about the new business Cover Girls and about Candy taking Alicia to a swimming lesson. When Candy was leaving, Betty asked her if she was having an affair with Alan. Candy said, "No, of course not." Betty pushed further. Candy then admitted to it and said that it had ended about 8 months earlier. Betty left and then calmly returned with an axe.
Oh.
She told Candy that she could not have Alan and that she did not want to see her ever again. Candy said, "I don't want him." But Betty told her to go and get Alicia's swimsuit off the washroom in the utility room while she went to get a towel. Betty then gave Candy a handful of sweets for Alicia, which they used as a reward for when Alicia put her head under the water. Candy wrapped the bathing suit in the towel and put the sweets in her purse. When she was leaving, she apologised again and this led Betty to shove Candy against the wall. Candy fell into the utility room. Betty continually said, "You can't have him." And then, "I'm going to have a baby and you can't have him this time." Betty raised the axe. Candy let out a scream, but when it came down, it slightly struck Candy's foot but bounced off the floor. Candy claimed that she was hit on the head. Candy then said that she grabbed the axe to stop, begging Betty to stop hitting her. After some back and forth, Candy eventually got the axe. Betty bit Candy on the knuckle.
Ooh.
Candy struck Betty and ran to escape, but Betty ran after her and threw her body against the door to make sure that she didn't escape. Candy begged Betty to let her go, but Betty said that she couldn't. Candy grabbed the axe and ended up back in the utility room. Betty regained control of the axe. Candy continually said she did not want Alan. Betty put a finger to her lips and shushed Candy. Candy then snapped, grabbing the axe and hit Betty, hitting her over and over again.
God.
She said the only reason she stopped was because she hit the point of utter exhaustion.
Oh my God.
Candy said that the dogs were barking and that she screamed at the top of her lungs just once, but no neighbours seemed to have heard it. So was it self-defence or murder in cold blood? A doctor testified to seeing bruises and cuts when she was taken in. The bruises and cuts were consistent with her story, but who grabbed the axe first? Did Betty know about the affair? Betty wrote her a letter to her parents mentioning her close friend Candy, postmarked on the day of her death.
Oh.
Why would she refer to Candy that day as her friend if she knew of the affair? And she also spoke about like Candy's looking after Alicia and everything.
Yeah, and why would you let your child go to her house
exactly.
if you knew that? Ooh.
The murder was committed in a blind rage. Was Candy jealous of what Betty had? Was she in love with Ellen, or was she acting in self-defense? Candy said after the attack she stepped into the bathroom, let the water run to wash the blood off. She tried to scrub the floor in the utility room, but there was so much blood she was just spreading it around the floor instead. She used the freezer to pull herself up to her feet, which explained the fingerprint, and walked out the front door.
Why were there no fingerprints on the axe handle? She must have
wiped it.
Yeah.
She checked her watch and realised it stopped at 10:20. She believed that it stopped when she got it wet in the shower.
Oh.
The morning after the murder, police announced they'd found a footprint, so Candy used a pair of garden shears to cut up the flip-flops she was wearing at the time.
Oh.
She disposed of the flip-flops and the clothes she was wearing that day. Candy was examined by 3 different psychiatrists 6 times.
Whoa.
One of the psychiatrists used hypnosis. He said that Candy admitted to having a lot of anger towards Betty and that Betty had ruined her life. Betty triggered something in Candy. The psychiatrist suggested that Candy went into a dissociative state, becoming a spectator to what she was doing. Candy was found competent to stand trial. Psychiatrists noticed that she appeared to be in a detached, emotionally disconnected state during the murder. They explored events from her early childhood and discovered a formative incident that seemed to shape how she handled anger. When Candy was just 4 years old, she and an older boy had a race to an outdoor water pump. The winner would get to pump water into a jar. Great reward.
What?
Candy lost, and in a fit of frustration, she grabbed the jar and hurled it at the pump. The glass shattered, cutting her forehead.
Oh dear.
At the hospital, she screamed so intensely in the waiting room that her mother shushed her, saying, "What will they think of you in the waiting room?" According to psychiatrists, this moment left a lasting impression. The act of being silenced when angry caused Candy to suppress her rage, but the memory of being controlled and dismissed, symbolised by the shushing, also created a deep sense of resentment.
I remember this scene from the show, actually, when she's in the psychiatrist chair.
That's right. They concluded that such early experiences had contributed to the intensity of her later emotional reactions. The defence team did their best to show reasonable doubt and cast the victim in a different light. They brought in previous co-workers of Betty who claimed that Betty had an unordinary amount of conflicts at work. A church member also described Betty as moody and someone who had little patience. It was also stated that Candy was smaller than Betty, so she was terrified of Betty's stature and acted in self-defense. In the closing argument, Don Crowder painted the picture of poor Candy Montgomery. He told the jury, "You have an opportunity here to allow a family to stay together. Don't rob 2 children of their mother.
Oh, come on.
Don't rob a husband of his wife." He finished. To a woman named Gore, an event of massive tragedy took place on Friday the 13th, and this case will very nearly end on Halloween. Maybe there's something involved here we don't understand.
Oh, no,
something
fuck off.
greater
I hate this
than
lawyer.
all of us. Yeah, I think he's pretty
greater
terrible.
than all of us. No, your client murdered someone.
That's right. When the jury deliberated, Don told Candy that she would have to leave town, that there was no life for her in Wylie anymore. After the 8-day trial, the jury of 9 women and 3 men deliberated for 4.5 hours.
It's not long.
On October 29th, Candy was found not guilty.
Oh, shit, I forgot that part.
The foreman, Bob Snyder, when he arrived in the room, said, "I'm as offended as anyone by the affair Mrs. Montgomery had, and I don't approve of it morally, but I think as far as this decision is concerned, we should put it aside. It can't affect our thinking in this case," he told the other jurors.
But that's the whole point.
It's the whole point. It's the motive. The jurors agreed, so they put the affair aside. The motive was put aside.
What?
Bob then said he didn't believe the brutality of the murder was relevant.
Huh?
In the end, it was still just one murder, he said.
What?
The 41 blows should have been a major factor, but they didn't take that into account.
What are you talking about?
30 minutes into their deliberation, they got their first vote. 3 said guilty and 9 came back as non-guilty. If Candy was not guilty, why did she leave the baby by herself? Well, they argued that Candy was so stressed that she must have just left the baby in the house. On the second vote, they reached a unanimous verdict. Candy left the baby for around 9 hours, knowing that Ellen was out of town.
Oh, that's awful.
The baby was heard crying by that 5-year-old girl after Candy left the scene. Why wasn't this manslaughter? The judge was angered by the verdict, stating that there was a miscarriage of justice.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the judge.
Wasn't the judge the one saying, let's put the motive aside, let's do all of
No,
this?
that's the foreman of the jurors.
Oh, my fucking God.
Candy and Pat ran into each other's arms.
What?
Candy later said in a statement read by the lawyer, "It seems so pointless. I didn't want him. I kept telling her that, and she put me into that position. It's caused me to lose everything that is important to me, and it hurts."
Oh, my God.
After the verdict, Pat and Candy went home for champagne and bologna and cheese sandwiches.
Gross.
So I think that is the thing about the show. It does paint Candy in quite a good light.
I don't remember. It was years ago that I watched it.
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen plays her and very well.
She is so likable.
Yeah.
I think Elizabeth Olsen's so likable.
Yeah. Candy, but it does show, her version of events.
Like watching it, you kind of think, yeah, okay, she was triggered and it was like,
Yes.
did you think that? Or did you
I did think
she
that
was
watching
guilty?
it. Yeah, I did think it
right,
watching it,
okay.
yeah. Candy was excited to get back to her normal life, something Betty could not do. Hate mail arrived for Candy, including a photo of her cut out of a newspaper with the word shush written all over it.
Oh, that's yucky.
Defense attorney Don Crowder ran for governor of Texas in 1986. He lost. He then opened a sports bar in 1991, but had to close soon after because he was near bankruptcy.
Good. Is this the defense lawyer?
Yeah.
Good.
His brother died in a car accident.
Not good.
Don was so depressed that he ended up taking his own life.
Oh, okay. Not good. Sorry, Don.
Pat and Candy left town 1 month after the trial. They moved their family to Georgia.
Oh, that's me.
That's you. They divorced 3 years later.
Oh,
Pat went by his first name, James, and his current whereabouts are unknown.
good for you, John. James.
James.
Same
Can't
name.
even remember
It's
his
the same
name. So boring.
Oh, he's so boring. I'm so sorry. That's so. I immediately forgot his name.
know.
He's so boring.
Alan remarried. Oh, sorry. Alan remained supportive of Candy Montgomery throughout the trial. He started a new relationship 1 month after his wife was murdered with a woman by the name of Elaine Williams, who had divorced her husband, David.
So hang on. He was supportive of Candy
Yeah.
through the trial of the murder of his wife.
Yeah, didn't believe
this
that she
fucking
could do it,
guy.
Yeah. Alan and Elaine treated the 2 children terribly, withholding food, making the girls take cold showers.
What?
And Elaine even made one of the daughters read a graphic account of her mother's murder.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
They were married less than 3 months after the trial ended. Betty's parents ended up getting custody of the children where they remain.
Oh my God.
They legally adopted the girls. Alan is now retired and living in Florida after divorcing Elaine.
Oh, that's a surprise. It sounded like such a good marriage.
Candy became a certified family counsellor,
Bullshit.
working with people who suffer from depression. She remains in Georgia and of January 2025 at the age of 76 is now known as Candy Wheeler. Betty's children are both married and have kids, including one who shares a birthday with her grandmother Betty.
Oh,
Another of the children's name is Betty.
oh, that's nice.
I'm going to finish today with the end of the film, The Shining.
Oh no.
As the winter wind whispered through the empty corridors, the hotel settled into a rare, quiet hush, as if it were listening for a last fragile note to linger in the air. The boy and his mother stepped into the pale daylight of the world outside, carrying with them the memory of what had happened, and a quieter hope for an ordinary morning beyond the snow. Though the old house would never be completely done with its past, there was a soft mercy in the turning of the pages, a chance to begin again. with small steps and steady breaths towards a future where the weathered scars could fade into something more patient and less loud. They would finally be together. This is the end. This is the end that Betty Gore should have had, stepping out with her baby, the opportunity to walk away from everything that had happened in that house, a chance to live again. And that, G, is the story of Betty Gore.
I feel like she's the only good person in this whole story.
Yeah.
Avon lady.
I know. And it just...
God,
it doesn't,
that's wild.
Yeah.
I am just... I'm as surprised as the judge was. I can't believe... this is the thing with lots of trials when there's mental incapacity brought into it, is if the options on the table are murder, guilty or not guilty, and that's the only option, that it makes it really tricky.
Yeah.
If you can't then go, well, okay, no, we'll call it manslaughter or something. Like, that's just wild.
Yeah.
She hit someone with an axe 41 times and killed them.
Yeah, you
and
can't
she just
really
gets
prove.
to walk free.
Yeah, you can't really say that hitting someone 41 times and then leaving the baby and everything. It's just so callous. And I don't think the show did a very good job in explaining that.
Yeah, right. And you think it's because that's what the courts found, so
they have to go with that,
people involved are still alive, so they could sue.
Yeah,
if they made it look anything. It would be contempt of court or defamation if it wasn't the case.
And the show is quite light and quite comical for what it's about. You know, when you realise what it's about, because I just stumbled on this show and went, oh my God, this is true. And there's a lot more to it than you see in the show.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And, you know, Candy Montgomery, and they also called the two women mousy. They always called them mousy. It was one mousy person killed another mousy person.
Oh,
It's like, what the hell? Yeah, Betty Gore didn't really get justice in any way. Like there was, she didn't get justice in her murder, but also she didn't get to, the way they spoke about it wasn't fair.
No,
they didn't give her a life. They didn't give her
because you're right. Yeah, that's a good point because that's what the courts found. They can't make it out as if she was murdered because it was found that she wasn't.
Yeah. So, you know, it's the death of Betty Gore, but it's like the murder of Betty Gore.
Yeah, but it's not that,
but it's not.
Actually.
Yeah.
I had forgotten all the details of that. I'd definitely forgotten that she got away with that she was found not guilty.
And acted in, you know, the act of self-defense is so interesting because it's like, oh yeah, that is what the best outcome of that would have been. Like, you know, for her to say that, sure. But we don't know what happened in that house. Obviously, you're never going to find out what happened in that house. Like, did she... And it kind of shows her in this kind of shining like state of Jack Nicholson walking with the axe calm and everything. And you're like, did that actually happen? Yeah. Or is that just what you're going on because Candy said that's what happened?
Is The Shining about a haunted house?
Yeah, a haunted hotel. Yeah.
Never knew that.
Oh, you got to watch it. We watched it twice during this.
I don't care about a scary house. It sounds a bit boring.
Oh, okay. Very scary film.
I forgot we just watched it.
Yes, come on, twice actually. Yeah, but I think it's a really interesting story. I think the way that she left the baby in the house is insane. I feel like she could have come up with another reason to have taken the baby, like
brought food.
Go and check on the baby. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, take the baby with you and tell people like, because I was taking Alicia to swimming.
I thought it'd
Betty, the baby wouldn't stop crying and she was having a bit of a meltdown. So
yeah, just anything. I don't know.
And then, oh my God, now I'm remembering that she was the one calling around people saying
she was murdered.
But she's been shot.
Yeah.
So why was she spreading that? Like to take heat off herself because. Well, I've heard that she was shot, so that's what I believe.
Yeah, she also went and watched the Star War.
She watched
just after
Star War.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. But she also just went and did all of the daily activities, and you know you had to pretend that it was a normal life.
And that's the thing. If it was like, I would think if you just switched in you and you went into this murderous rage, when you flicked out of it again, you'd go, "Oh my fucking God, what have I done?" and go to police or something.
Well, self-defense is the thing that you would go about. You know, you go, "Oh well, I acted in self-defense,"
and of course,
straight away.
Of course, you'd like. You know, maybe isn't that easy to decide because you'd go, oh shit, what if they don't believe me and I go to jail for murder? It's better to pretend I wasn't involved at all. But if you were actually guilty about it, like, bloody hell. I mean, she had an ongoing affair as well. She kind of had much of a guilt radar.
Yeah, and had another affair after that as well.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Woo! Oof, what a story.
I know, and that's why I said it was the story of Betty Gore to you this week, because I didn't want you to think that it was Candy Montgomery, because I feel like it is a well-known story. I just didn't want you to think that it was.
Yes, if you'd said it was her, I'm like, well, that's giving away the murderer straight away. Oh, no, you told that really well. That was good, because I didn't even know I knew the story until partway through.
Yeah,
that
great.
was really good.
Oh, my God.
Did you really write that bit at the start about The Shining?
Do you like it?
You're pretty good.
Thanks. Hey, we'll be back very soon with the mailbag.